There was one time we were on a road trip and we got like chips kan. It was the same chip, it was just different flavor. And I opened the wrong flavor and he threatened to kick me out of the car while he's driving. He's like, if you don't say sorry for opening the wrong chip, get out of the car.
Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing. I'm uncomfortable.
Hi guys, welcome back to our podcast Toxic to Me. Aku Ivanna, aku dokter.
And ako, Christiana, ako psychologist.
Featuring our friend Kristy. And today we're going to be talking about love after heartbreak. Today we're here to talk about love after heartbreak, or specifically finding love after heartbreak, especially after a toxic relationship, setelah hubungan toxic. I think after having been in one, it can be hard, I think, right, to open up. But I think we want to find out more about that from your end. And we want to hear what you have to say about it. So now you're in a committed relationship, right?
Yeah.
Okay, udah berapa lama, Chris?
Like almost a year now.
Almost a year? How's it been?
It's good.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay. Fun fact, we know the guy and we approve. So
We love it.
Yes.
I've never said that about anyone you've ever dated before.
Yay, that's good.
Lo bisa cerita dikit nggak how the dynamic of your last relationship was and the toll it took on you? How was it like impacting you negatively, and then what did you notice about yourself changing that you didn't like, let's say?
It was like a on and off relationship for like 3 years. Kaya sempet juga putus 6 bulan before we got back together. And I think I jumped into that relationship like really quickly. Like it was like I was like thrown into that relationship. And I lost a lot of myself because I was turning into someone else for that person. And yeah.
I remember you telling me that it was quite toxic.
Yeah.
Do you think you could bisa cerita dikit nggak maksudnya toxic gimana?
I think we just couldn't properly communicate. Okay, there was a lot of like emotions and like passion. Kaya if I say something and he doesn't like it, even though I am marah, he'll get mad at me for being mad. Or it's just like communication itu nggak ada. Like there's no communication. He wanted me to be this person. I couldn't be that person, but I tried to every time. It's just zero communication and a lot of anger in that relationship.
Do you think there was like aspects of manipulation, emotional manipulation?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm such a big lover girl and I always want to like kaya make my partner happy. And if that meant like changing myself, changing the way I dress, like I would, even though it's like so stupid to do that. Tapi I did. And jatuhnya kayak I just became someone else. I didn't like who I was. And at the end of the relationship, like everything just felt wrong. Like I knew like by the end of the relationship, okay, this is not the person I'm supposed to be, and this is not the person that I should be with, you know?
How long did it take you to reach that conclusion, Kristy?
It took 2.5 years. It took a while. It took a really long time, okay? Because even like when we broke up, like that long 6 months, I was just still like manipulated, okay? We were still in contact, and that's why I couldn't properly heal. I couldn't properly move on because he was still in my life, even though we weren't together. And yeah, kaya it took a really long time. I think it took kaya 2.5 years for me to be like, I don't like it. I don't like this feeling.
How long did it take for you to cut clean?
I would say a week or 2 weeks after the breakup. Kaya it was like more clean. Again, I'm such a lover girl. Like I didn't want to break up. Like I'm always like fighting for a relationship gitu kan. So I'm glad that he was the one who didn't reach out because I wouldn't reach out kan. But I'm glad that, but if he does reach out, I would be like, yes, gitu loh. You know that feeling kaya,
yes.
But I wouldn't reach out. And so we finally had that closure yang kaya, okay, I told him like, don't call me when you're drunk, don't call me any, and then he's like, I'm not gonna call you for any reasons, Chris. And I'm like, okay.
Did he hold to it?
No, he didn't.
Sorry, I'm calling you.
No, but now like, udah kayak done, obviously.
So kan tadi udah ngomongin your past relationship. how does it differ from your current one? Tell us more about your current one.
Obviously we communicate a lot better. Kaya we rarely fight. And it's because kaya kalau emang I lagi emosi, kaya I would tell him. And then he wouldn't react the way like my past would react. So a lot of good communications. And I think coming from a toxic relationship, I never want to put someone through that kind of feeling. And I don't want to put myself back into that feeling. So I always try to, as best as I can, to control my emotions.
I think you're pretty good at it.
Yeah.
So far, yeah.
I think a lot better than like I was before. Kaya obviously kaya toxic relationship and it takes two, yeah. I always believe that it takes two. If you let that happen, like you do toxic gitu. If you stop that cycle, that's when you know you're like in a healthy mindset and you know your worth and everything.
I think love can cloud your judgment.
Yeah, 100%.
Speaking of T, I wanted to get your viewpoint as a therapist. Yeah. Have you heard statements where people are like, oh, when you're in a toxic relationship and then you're the victim, and then sometimes in the next relationship you become the toxic one. Is that real? Like, what's your opinion on that?
Well, I think hurt people. So I think that if you haven't done the work to heal from that, then you can easily project a lot of the things that happen to you, a lot of the hurt you're feeling onto, for lack of a better term, like an innocent person. So I think that, yeah, for sure, if you don't heal yourself, you can then hurt other people. But it's not always the case. A lot of the time, you can go through a really toxic relationship, and if it comes from within yourself, you can learn from it, and you can be better from it, and you can be stronger from it. I sound like a Hallmark.
But I think true.
Yeah, and having the friends.
Because I think she's living
really
proof of it, right? Like,
for sure.
3 years in a relationship that wasn't too healthy.
But then I do agree, kaya, you know, when you come from a toxic relationship, you can be the one that's like, will be toxic in the next relationship. Like, you just still have a hard time unlearning that trauma. Like, you can move on from a person, but that doesn't mean like you to properly heal from all of that. Kan? Misalnya kaya, like I said, like there's a lot of like passion, lots of like emotion and anger gitu. And then with my relationship now, we're so like peaceful and calm. Sometimes I'm like, what's wrong with it? You know?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, but I have to like be like, you know, this is normal, Kristy.
Healthy.
Yeah.
This is healthy.
Yeah.
How long after your breakup did you meet your current one? And then what was that like? Kenalnya dari mana? Siapa yang kenalin?
I mean, it was very quick. Like, it was like a month after I broke up. Tapi I'm not the type yang kayak jump into a relationship quickly. Like, this is the only one that was like that fast. And itu pun kayak I made sure it was like a slow burn. Like, kayak I'm still healing, la 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 gitu. We met through my best friend. Like, I was working.
Tell the story.
I was working at her house, and then basically my boyfriend and her sort of related, kan. So he came over to play billiard, and that's how I met him in that house.
Was it love at first sight?
I don't know. I don't think it was love at first sight. I don't believe in love at first sight, but
Yeah, me neither.
But
What is that? No.
Tapi no, I was like attracted to him because I never date anyone that's my type.
Oh.
I've never dated anyone that was my type. Like this is the first time I'm dating someone that's my type. So yay me.
But before you started dating him, you already knew udah tahu what your type is, atau karena ketemu dia, I'm like, oh, this is my type. Gitu.
No, so I went to therapy, kan. And my therapist to bilang, kayak, you need to like write down everything that you want in a man. Like, be so specific, kayak, emotionally, mentally, physically, everything, how he makes you feel, how he treats you. Kayak, I wrote it down, so I knew like what I wanted. And then physically, obviously he's my type. Like, I don't.
he's here.
He's here, by the way, guys. He's watching from behind, so
with his arms crossed.
Yeah. Anyway, he's my type, and then yeah, I think you know when you write down everything that you want,
Manifestation.
you manifest it. Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
Okay, almost everything, 90%.
Okay, and
Yeah.
then so ketemunya sebulan setelah
Yeah,
putus.
putus.
What was your headspace like at that time? Were you already thinking of getting to know him as a potential partner atau mau temenan doang? Gimana coba?
So my headspace too, because me and my ex, we were like on and off, and like I said, kayak pernah sempet putus 6 months, and I was still kayak grieving and blah blah blah. I was like still sad and crying every day in that 6 months. I promised myself, like, once kita putus, I'm not gonna take that long. Kayak we've tried it. Udah coba, we went through like an unhealthy stage. We went through a healthy stage, and it still didn't work. And so I promised myself, kayak jangan lama-lama sedihnya. Udah, like you already did that 6 months, enough. And so I was blessed with like so many great people who like temenin me, you know, kayak 24/7 they telephone in and everything. So I was alright. Like I was, yeah, obviously sad the first few weeks. Tapi I think by the time I met him, I was like at a good place. I was already like going on dates juga.
Okay.
So like he wasn't like the first guy I met. Like I didn't jump into a relationship after the first guy. So yeah.
But he's the right guy.
But he was the right guy,
Yeah.
right? Which then leads me to my question, susah nggak buka hati untuk dia? Because personally, kan not long ago juga I went through a breakup, right?
Yeah.
Masih susah buat aku buka hati. I find it hard. Like I'm going on dates and everything, and I think I'm okay in a good headspace juga. Tapi susah loh untuk buka hati buat orang baru. I wouldn't even say it's fear of getting hurt again. Cuman kayak,
She feels weird. Like, sorry,
Do you
can
know
I
what is
expose
it?
you? She
Expose
called
me.
me last night and she's like, he's being nice. Is that normal? Yeah. And she's like,
feel
but I feel like she's like, kaya belum ada red flag ya? Kaya he's nice to me, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm hanging up. I'm literally
Yeah.
hanging up. She's like, yeah, I just don't know if this is normal, or
Yeah.
maybe like something's wrong with him.
No, I
respectfully something wrong with you.
I
gue
totally get
telepon
that.
dia kemarin. Terus gue bilang, everything went well. He must have some ulterior motive.
He actually did.
Yeah.
She did.
Yeah.
She was like, he was so nice to me, and I was like, yeah, jail.
So, did you feel that with your current?
Yeah, no, I did. I 100% did. Because I was so familiar with, like, the bad things. Jadi kayak when
Chaos.
someone, like, chaos, yeah. So when someone nice comes to me, I was like, that's not real. I don't trust it. Kayak I had, like, a hard time, kayak, why are you saying the right things? Like, it's scary. I actually said that.
Yeah.
Like, I think the second day after our first date, I was like, you're saying the right things. It's really scary.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
creepy.
And she was like, oh, she was like, oh, he supports my brand. He love bombing me. And I was like, what?
Yeah,
She was like, he
everything-
must be love bombing
Yeah,
me.
I'm like, he's such a good love bomber. I was
Yeah, no. That's literally what I told her.
Just 'cause, like, we were so-
And I was like,
Yeah.
dia jago sih di love bombing.
And I was like, he's a nice person.
I mean, like,
I
we have to
reconsidered
also
that.
kind of be realistic, yeah. This
Yeah.
man is, like, obviously pursuing us. They're gonna be in their best behavior.
Benar.
So, kayak, I'm
But
like,
is it sustainable? Gitu kan? Kayak, is this just...
Are you gonna be like this forever?
Yeah.
Or enggak gitu. Tapi you also have to understand kayak they are at their best behavior. You're not gonna have, when you have a partner, they're not gonna be like this forever juga kan. So
Yeah.
kayak it's a matter of like how much they change
Yeah.
and if you can accept that and if it's like
Adaptability?
realistic kayak, you know.
So how is he? Did he change a lot?
I would say kayak lebih realistic lah. Cause I would be like literally, I'm like in the club, kayak we were in Izzy, I would cough and then he would mas air. Like that, like it was like crazy, you know what I mean? Now when I cough, he's just like tuk, tuk.
Because now he
No
knows.
water.
Because now he knows why you're coughing.
Yeah. Why?
Because of your baby.
Oh, because I'm baby.
You're probably like this girl.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So, not so inilah ya.
No,
Like, still
kayak-
consistent,
I-
still...
yeah, but going back to kaya, if I was scared, again, I'm like such a big lover girl. I feel like I might never experience. I hope I don't. I hope I don't.
Ooh.
But I've never experienced a heartbreak that was just so soul shattering that made me scared to love. Like I just love, you know. So yeah,
I love love,
I love love.
but I'm scared of love. Okay, guys. You already mentioned juga kalau because you spent so long in the relationship miserable and knowing that it wasn't healthy and everything, so it didn't take you too long after, right? How did you know it wasn't a rebound? Like, oh, I'm just gonna, go on dates and have as much fun as I can as a single woman. How do you know it wasn't that?
I don't know if this is a hot take, but I think like rebound comes from you. It comes from like your headspace. So misalnya you haven't moved on, you haven't properly healed
Processed.
or processed, if you haven't like accepted the breakup and you're still thinking about that person like romantically, not just get, oh, he was in the past. I believe that any guy that you date, even if he's like perfect and he's like green flag, he will always be a rebound, or he or she will always be a rebound because you're
Makes
not in
sense.
that
Masuk
headspace
akal.
gitu loh. Yeah, I see.
So how did you know you were in that headspace?
I was just ready. I was
Yeah.
just ready to meet other people. I wanted to see what's out there because I know definitely what I had wasn't it. So I was so ready to I'm gonna see everything. I'm gonna go and like lihat this type of guy. What what is kayak cocok for me gitu.
Yeah.
But not in a way that it wasn't a way to distract myself. That's when I knew kayak it wasn't a rebound. I wasn't like looking for a guy just to be like distracted or like
Yeah.
happy or whatever. I was like looking for a guy for me, you know? Yeah.
Did you ever have the urge to self-sabotage?
Oh yeah. So many times.
Call you out.
No, yeah, I think I did. Just because kaya it was again like it was so
Yeah.
kaya easy, so peaceful, so calm. So I'm just like something's wrong.
Yeah.
But it was like self-sabotaging aja gitu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think that I've seen all of your relationships, although I will reserve my comments on them for later. You know exactly how I feel. So I think that this is the first time that I've actually genuinely seen you happy. That wasn't like a transient, like short-term experience gitu. Karena usually you're happy for like a few hours and then something happens and then you're happy again. So it's like extreme happiness and extreme kayak sadness.
Lows, yeah.
Tapi menurut aku tuh bukan sebenarnya happy banget, tapi in contrast to how bad it was. It
Yeah.
looked comparatively better.
Yeah.
Because, he called me tonight versus, I don't know what happened. Kaya marah-marah. So then he does one nice thing, it feels like the entire world to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so happy that you're happy.
I'm happy you're happy.
And I'm happy you're happy.
I'm happy Ivanna's
I'm,
happy.
I'm happy we're happy. Yeah.
Okay, kan tadi sempat mention that sometimes you self-sabotage. Do you think you could share a little bit behind that? Like, kira-kira why do you self-sabotage? What's the reason behind it? Like, is it just too good to be true, or you'd rather hurt yourself before you get hurt, kind of thing? Gimana?
Me and Tiana was talking about this because I was like, I think I crashed out like a week ago. But it all just comes from like abandonment issues. Kaya with like flight or fight, I'm like
Yeah.
flight. So kaya if something is wrong, I shut down.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk or anything. And so we were talking about this. She was
Yeah.
just saying kaya it's your abandonment issues. So kaya if I feel a certain shift, para kaya there's nothing. But it's just me kaya overreacting over something. I will like go crazy and then run away. And then what did you say? Kaya it was like I'm so used to the chaos.
Yeah, that when something's calm, you think that something's wrong.
Yeah.
Or when people aren't like going nuts, she thinks that they don't care.
Yeah.
Like the green flag is too green.
Yeah. That I'm blinded.
It's like it's too green.
Yeah.
Bisa dibilang it's in your nature to fly, like run, right? But a healthy relationship requires communication and requires you telling the other person if something is bothering you rather than just shutting down. So was it hard for you to go against that? Like what kind of self-awareness did you need, and what kind of work did you have to put in, to get to where you are now? Because okay, for context, gue sama Kristy belum terlalu lama kenal. Jadi yang udah lama kenal tuh sebenarnya Tiana and Kristy. But if I hear from Tiana's stories, it seems that Kristy's past relationships are quite tumultuous, yeah, very rocky. And in the whole time that I've known Kristy now, and she's already with her current partner, crash outs here and there, tapi very stable overall kan. Very very healthy relationship.
We're just calling her out.
Gua sama Tiana manggilnya mom and dad.
It's hard, but again, it's like I never want to put him in the situation that I was put in, and I never want to go back to that kind. So I try kaya to communicate as best as I can, but kaya untungnya dia tuh lebih level-headed than I am, and so kaya when he knows like I'm like okay, she's like crossing some lines, he'll be like, you know what, let's take a breather, let's give each other space. And then so we would give each other space, but I'm like crashing out.
Call the group chat.
I call the group chat. I'm calling Tiana. I'm like, what's going on? And then she's my self-awareness when I don't.
And
when
then
I
crash out the next day.
Yeah.
Literally.
When I
the
can't
next
be
day.
that for myself, I obviously go to someone else. And then she was just telling me, Kaya, you're like this because of your abandonment issues. It's because like you think he's gonna abandon you, so you're gonna like run.
Yeah.
And that's and then selalu kayak it's like that kayak I'm like emotional, and then he's like he's saying all the right things, but I'm still angry, you know. Sometimes you just can't like when you're up there you can't go down. And then so he gives me space, and then I crash out, and then an hour later I'm like,
You hang up the group chat, you're like, you know what, I'm good
I'm
now.
fine. You know, I'm fine. And then
I'm at paddle right now. Do you like my outfit?
And then I'd be like, I'm sorry, you know, kaya I'll just apologize because kaya I just needed to crash out. I just needed.
She's like, how do I say sorry? No, that's too sweet.
Shut up. But no, yeah.
So Tiana, I sempat curhat ke you juga kan kayak about like not that I've been in a toxic relationship, but I think you mentioned to me that it's hard. Like your body gets addicted to the highs of like a chaotic relationship. Kira-kira bisa nggak you share more? Why is that? Kenapa kayak gitu? Terus juga kok susah banget sih buat ninggalin hubungan toxic?
Yeah. Well, I think tuh sebenarnya your body and your brain tuh are so connected. Jadi di otak kita tuh ada yang namanya neurotransmitters. Where basically, kalau misalkan you get a reward atau something good happens, itu your dopamine spikes. Nah, ada yang namanya, pernah dengar reinforcement?
I have, reinforcement.
What do you know about reinforcement?
Not much.
Okay. Jadi kayak, kalau reinforcement, there are different kinds of reinforcement. Misalkan, contohnya mungkin an experiment dulu yang kayak kalau ada anjing, there's a bell, the Pavlovian experiment, where you ring the bell and you get food. Nah, tapi there are other experiments yang namanya kayak misalkan intermittent reinforcement, di mana misalkan if you press a button, you will get a reward. Tapi the reward will be only sometimes, kayak inconsistent gitu. Jadi nggak setiap kali you hit tombolnya, you get a reward kan.
Okay.
Nah, jadi maybe in a toxic relationship, it becomes intermittent reinforcement. So it's almost like otak kita mimics the cycle of addiction. Because you're releasing dopamine, tapi you're not releasing it consistently. So the highs are really, really high and the lows are really, really low. And you think, maybe if I just try one more time, I'll get the high.
Okay.
Karena you don't know where it's going. Tapi you know, sometimes you get the reward. And the reward, in contrast to how bad it is,
it's really good.
It feels really good. So, and then also maybe kaya as a form of self-validation lah. Karena you think, hey, I can do it. I can change them. I can be good enough. I can change something about myself to give you the high. Itu juga bisa. Tapi I think the most common tool is intermittent reinforcement, and there are people who say juga sebenarnya dalam hubungan toxic, our brain mimics the symptoms of addiction sometimes, where you just keep thinking, you just keep craving it because you don't have it, and you know how good it is in contrast to how bad it gets.
When is enough? Like when do you say enough is enough? You know?
But hopefully, buat orang-orang sehat, enough is enough when you're consistently emotionally hurt, when you feel like your needs are not being fulfilled, terus udah dikomunikasiin, orangnya juga nggak terlalu peduli or something. I think toxicity depends. Obviously, kalau dalam kasus-kasus abuse, it's not that easy. Karena abuse is not, people always say like, oh, in abusive relationships, emotionally, physically, why don't you just leave? Karena when you're in it, you can't see what's happening.
Okay.
And kaya, I think the way out, obviously when there are different factors at play juga, how dependent you are on the person, etc., etc. Tapi generally, I think enough is enough depending on the person. Maybe ada support dari teman-teman, kayak dijelasin like that's not normal, etc. Tapi someone can say stop as many times as they want, tapi until you're genuinely done with it, you will never be done with it.
I think this ties in back with our first episode, about how, like, when you're stress hormones in your body, dopamine and oxytocin and all that, right? But I also remember pas di episode pertama kita, Science of Heartbreak, kita sempat ngomongin juga kan that heartbreak, to recover from heartbreak, itu butuh about 6 bulan, right? Tapi kan there are special instances or special circumstances, misalnya kayak Kristy, where it didn't take as long. Do you think you could expand more on that?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think with Kristy, dalam kasus ini, she was more rational. Karena she was like, okay, I know that this is not something that I want. Udah dicoba lagi. Mungkin, only share this if you want to share this. Okay, mungkin kayak kasusnya Ivanna juga kan. Where you tried, you ended it, and then you started again, and you realize, I'm done, this doesn't work. So kayak orang-orang dari luar ngeliatnya, cepet banget loh. Kayak, oh, she's moving on. Oh, I heard this person's hanging out with these people, etc., etc. Karena it's almost like you got over the relationship when you were in it, or you tried and it didn't work, and you tried again and it didn't work again. Nah, jadi I think tergantung orang ke orang, right? Generally itu pakai cycle of grief. So the cycle of grief yang kita omongin di episode pertama, yang the first one was like denial, terus then I don't remember cycle of grief. It'll be on the screen. The cycle of grief. Tapi I think, generally, untuk melalui semua tahap kesedihan itu tuh perlu 6 bulan sampai 1,5 tahun. Because you're grieving someone who's still alive.
Yeah.
And you're grieving what could have been. You're grieving a lot of different things. And sometimes though that grief can prolong into the future. Like it's something that will like be there consistently, tapi to a lesser degree. Jadi sebenarnya I think people can definitely move on faster. Tapi it's like depending on if they've tried it. As long as there are no more what ifs, as long as they know they've tried, or kalau ada mitigating or extreme circumstances gitu, then they can definitely move on.
Yeah, ngerti sih. I think I also had the same situation as you, Kristy, where I feel okay, I feel better, like belum 6 bulan tapi I'm already okay. And then kayaknya Tiana said it could be because within the relationship I was already going through the cycle of grief. Tapi when I was in the relationship, I didn't know that I was going through the cycle of grief, to be honest. I didn't know that I wasn't, like, I was already, like, over it, gitu loh. Because, honestly, kayak right after the breakup, I thought I was gonna crash and burn, right? And I kept waiting for it, tapi nggak pernah datang-datang. I'm like, gue duduk di sini kayak mikir kayak, ini gue yang psikopat apa gimana ya?
Yeah, because she was like, the first time was so bad.
I was like calling up to you, I was like, did I never love this person? Like, why the hell am I okay?
Why am I fine?
Why
like,
am
I
I
shouldn't
fine?
feel okay. Like, I think I'm insane. Like, that's what she was saying. She was like, am I insane? Karena the first time, obviously, we can cut this out if you want to cut this out. Tapi the first time she broke up, she crashed. Like,
I crashed for 3 days. And then after 3 days, I was done. I was fine. I got it all out of my system. Terus kayak udah kayak attachment-nya ada, the familiarity ada. Because I was with this person for quite a long time juga, 2 tahun. Cuman, how I knew I was over it or how I knew I was done with it was kalau ditanya, mau nggak balikan? Nggak mau jawabannya.
Yeah.
And that was how I knew I was done. But why am I not crashing, Tiana?
Could it be me? I crashed. I crashed a lot. I crashed for like a year.
Yeah, and then and then when I heard like Tiana's story about how it took her over a year, about a year, a long time, it made me feel even more kayak, fuck, something's wrong with me. Yeah.
Karena I think with you, it was something yang datang dari kamu juga. Like you were not happy in it, and you also kayak udah coba lagi kan.
Yeah.
Kalau mine was a bit left field. So
That's an overstatement.
Yeah.
Oh no, an understatement.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, for sure. Tapi I think eventually you can find someone who is happy and healthy. Tapi the happiness and the health doesn't feel, I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't feel like it's enough atau it doesn't feel right. Karena you're so used to kayak extremes that stability is like, he must not love me. I think he doesn't love me. Like, what do you mean I'm just allowed to go out with my friends until 2 a.m. and you're not gonna call me? Like, and you're just gonna say have fun and not be sarcastic. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah. No, I get that. Like, sometimes when he's like obviously being normal and healthy, I'm like, I don't think he cares about me.
Yeah.
Like, why is he letting me do
Boundaries?
this? Like, what? Yeah.
I don't know boundaries.
Yeah.
Tapi I think I really strongly believe, I saw this on TikTok actually, there was this girl who was saying, sometimes you have to crash enough times to get over it. You can't just get over it. You need to crash and crash and crash, and then one day you'll be done crashing out, and that's how you get over it.
I've seen that TikTok yang kaya go back to him as much as you want until you physically cannot. Yeah. But no, I agree. I think I agree with you because I also grieved my relationship during my relationship. I think I was...
You sadar nggak? Lu sadar nggak?
I sadar because I was crashing out, like, it was so bad. Like, it felt like my world was, like, torn apart, like, every month. Like, I thought we were breaking up every month. And then, finally, we did take that break, kan. Guys, bloom, like, a month before we officially broke up. And then when we got back together, it was a break. I was kind of sad that we got back together.
Normal.
Yeah. Almost similar to mine, right? Kayak we took a break.
I didn't lama sih breaknya?
Not long, like 1 week.
1 week, and then I'm like already kayak, I met you and your boyfriend at the time, and then I was like, I feel like I can find someone as nice as your partner. I feel like I can find someone yang I lebih connect with and everything. In context, like me and my ex, we're from 2 different worlds. Like I'm a city girl.
Yeah, but I think what helps with a breakup and actually going through with a breakup is your friends.
Yeah.
Karena I had her, I had Dea, and I had my friend Callista during that, and they let you crash out as many times as you need to crash out. And I'll call her and tell her the same story 25 times. Like something's not right there. Yeah, tapi I also had friends who are like, yo, the way you get over it, stop talking about it. I don't want to talk to you if this is what you talk about.
But sometimes you just have to talk.
But sometimes you just have to get out of your system, no?
Ngomong sampai bosan gitu.
Penting lah ya, berarti punya amazing support system going through a breakup. I've been very fortunate enough going through breakups before in my past. I had really good,
That's a full sentence.
really good support systems. So, shout out to all my friends. You know who you are. Tapi kira-kira dari Kristy ada nggak saran atau takeaway message or advice, anything for people who are looking to find love after heartbreak, especially after a toxic relationship, hubungan yang kurang sehat lah ya.
There was one thing that like my friend said to me that really like made me accept the breakup. Don't let the breakup bullshit you. And so sometimes when you berputus, you're like, what if I can't find a guy like that again? What if I can't find like a guy that's that hardworking or that nice or blah 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 blah? And that's
You
like,
actually had those thoughts.
I had those thoughts.
For sure.
It's like you're just like your head is just lying to you guys, saying that all of these things you won't find someone better, you won't find another person. But I think once you realize like you're just lying to yourself, you will like move on. Like you will, like there's no way that you'll find someone.
There's no way you
won't find someone better.
Yeah, ngerti. So I think it's just important. Sabar.
Yeah.
Have faith.
Yeah.
And stick to what you know you're looking for in a person.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't compromise.
Don't
settle.
compromise. Don't settle.
Don't settle.
And like once you putus, try to like love yourself again. Try to rediscover yourself again.
I felt
and, like,
that.
Yeah.
I
and
felt
once-
like I lost myself.
Yeah, exactly. Especially a long-term relationship, that you tend to cater to what they want and what they need, and then you lose yourself. And once you get yourself back, you start loving yourself. You know what you're worth, and then like finding someone who is worthy of that. Once you know.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Kristy, for coming onto our podcast today and talking about your relationship and your experiences. I think cukup untuk episode hari ini. Kita belajar banyak dari Kristy, dari pengalaman-pengalaman dia sebelumnya. And we wish you all the best of luck in your relationship right now. Also, guys, another shout out to So She Did. Jadi, our beautiful friend here, she owns a clothing brand namanya So She Did. And we're all wearing it today.
Yeah.
So, go and check it out. Thank you so much for watching today. We hope you enjoyed our episode and we hope you get well soon.
Yay!